Hello, Darryl Davis here. Welcome back to part 2 of the Scarlet Pimpernel. This is the scene where all the men get together. And you can see by their poses and their costumes, I know it's hard to see, but each one of them are very elaborate costumes. Up at the top there, you see the pictures of various people. And I didn't know this, but on opening night when this was portrayed, I'm there, the second from the right. They actually painted my picture and put it up. So I got a bit of a shock when I saw it. Have a look at the staging too. Those chandeliers, they look round, but they're totally flat. What you need when you raise, when you fly your scenery in and out, if they were big and round like that, they would bang into stuff. So that's what they had to do. Now that is, to me, the greatest example of deception. Look at that in the middle. That is a rotunda. You see the roundness. See how round and curved it is. Well, it's not really. It's a flat, absolute flat. And it's been cut out and painted that way. One of the things that we have here is we have a wonderful artist named Jack. And Jack was head teacher of art at Lisbon High School. And when he retired, he came to work here on GMS shows. And that is just brilliant. I love that scene. I just love it. In the background, disguised is a ship. And you'll see that in a minute too. This is a close-up of that rounded piece. If you ever look at just above their heads, doesn't that look round, curved? No, it's flat, absolutely flat. It's painted that way. Isn't it? Now, another use on the set. Remember I said 2 challenges for this show. One was the costumes and the other was the set. And so, because you've got to have sets that can be reused for various scenes. And so the set designer, Lee Collins, came across the idea of having these windows that make it feel like you're in a closed area, but they could come in and out and used in various scenes. And below you can see some of the servants, and you can also see the greenery that they used around the top, which gives the idea that it's in a garden, which it was. I thought it was a magnificent scene. And the lighting. And the lighting was done by Damien Rice of Laycock Street. Nobody does lighting like he does. Just brilliant. Now, here's a little story here. This was done in a dress rehearsal. Now, I want you to concentrate on that painting. That painting was actually done for a show that traveled through Laycock Street, and at the end they didn't need the painting, so they sold it to us. But it depicts the Battle of Waterloo, and the main character there is the Duke of Wellington, and he's always known by the sort of hat that he wore. Now, I wanted to use that painting, but of course the problem was that the Battle of Waterloo took place in 1815, and this scene takes place in 1794. No good. So that artist that I was talking about, the next day when we went on stage and dress rehearsal, this is what he did. And it might be hard for you to see, but he took the hat off. He painted out the hat from Wellington, and he changed some of the uniforms around, and so it looked well. And you'll see we've used the windows again. Now, this scene is in Percy's drawing room, in his lounge room. Within one page, they go from there on board a ship and into the middle of Paris. This is where they're going to end up, in the middle of Paris. That was another interesting scene, the guillotine. You'll see there's a prison down below and a guillotine, which of course, as I think most people know, that was the instrument of death during the French Revolution. I had Neil as the baddie, Chauvelin. He is on a movable staircase. So he started over here, and he was brought across by his soldiers. And then when he got to the jail, he stepped over on the top and he became part of the scene. Now that guillotine was so real. I'll give you an example. When the head goes in, you'll see it in a minute, but it looked real. And when it came down, and it's coming down here, that guy's head is in there, and when the blade came down, it actually stopped in the wooden part. But the head, because there's like a material there, the head just simply dropped down, and it looked like his head was cut off. And I got to tell you, the first night that we did this in the theater, the gasps from the audience, because it really looked like he was killed. It was a brilliant scene. That guillotine, by the way, was brought from Sydney. It had been used in a professional production. And the guy playing the Pimpernel put it on the roof racks of his car and brought it to us. And I often wondered as he was passing traffic, the sort of, looks that he would have got. Now, the ship I was talking about, these guys we just saw them in the drawing room. This ship came forward, they jumped on board, the mast came in, the sails came in, it was on a fly, and they changed in view of the audience into this disguised look. Some of them were women even, and because what happens when they arrived in Paris then, they were disguised. Now, within this show, to show you how difficult it was, we had to have fencing. They actually had to sword fight. Now, we're very lucky here that we can draw upon so many people's experiences here. We had one member of the cast, in fact, he was my assistant director, Anthony George, used to do that at Old Sydney Town. He was a soldier and a fencer at Old Sydney Town. So he took them through all of that stuff, which was just fantastic. Dressing room, you see the guys getting changed. Just you can see that all the costumes there, that was just his load of costumes right there. Amazing. And finally, basically, we're coming down to the end. Just before every show, the director and the musical directors bring the cast together in the shed, which is at our GMS shed, and they would do a warm-up, sing and do warm-ups and listen to any notes that are given. So essentially that is the cast, the whole company of the Scarlet Pimpernel 2005, a huge challenge. But it was also one that people on the Central Coast didn't know it. In the first week, we didn't have, we probably had about 60% audiences, but weeks 2, 3, and 4, it sold out. So it became a well-known show after that. And thank you very much for being with me for the Scarlet Pimpernel.